And the first map is most definitely going to be yet again Arabia. Yeah, that's exactly the dry version of the Arabia. And looking at the civilizations in this 3v3, it's going to be Avonas, Huns, Jekite, Mongols, Bolsonaro, Mayan, El Makina, Huns, Marios 2000, Mayans, and Starscream is going to be Mongols. Starscream is, or no, sorry, Bolsonaro is supposed to be the best player out here with approximately 18-15 rating. So we will probably see him making the most out of this game and be the most important player overall. Right now though we are looking at the host of the room, which is, or rather who is A1 at this point, who's also knowing where the initial board is, also very nice hunt at the very bottom. It should be easily defensible for him and, well, kinda easy to actually get next to the TC if he wants to, but so far he doesn't really seem so, as he's just scouting around with his starting scout cavalry to make sure that he knows where all the boars and potentially other resources like the gold is, or rather are. Okay, so this is a pretty sweet placement overall, especially with the hill next to this goal. It's going to be kind of easier to defend if he goes potentially for some archers or whatnot. Looking how he's handled, I don't really expect that to be happening, as usually Huns go for knights or scout cavalry or whatnot, but then they also go for cavalry archers because they have pretty good bonuses for that. Okay, so this is the starting position for the pocket player of MCL, and we will be switching into the next one from their team, for example into Jekity. Yeah, that's the teal player, and he is spawned very close to the wall here. Not really great usually, but at the same time, looking at the tree lines and the cliffs here, it kind of seems that he might actually be easy. It might be easy for him to actually wall in. So yeah, even though usually it's not all that great because it doesn't really lend all that much room for your buildings and whatnot, in this case it could be useful. You also see a very nice hunt with the double bore on the right side, already going for one of them. And looking at the mines, they are very nice indeed because they are literally right next to the TC, so it will be very easy for him to defend and potentially even use as a wall. You can easily place some palisades or houses right here, and you will be very easily walled right next to the TC, so potentially very easy defense against Drush or early aggression. Otherwise, really, the mines are kind of nicely placed. Same goes for the second goal, so I don't really expect this map to be all that problematic for this player. So let's have a look at the last one from MCLs, which is, or rather, who is going to be Bolsonaro, the player that we have mentioned earlier. That should be probably the one with the most important stuff going on. And I would be guessing this is actually a stolen boar, because yeah, why would he actually be luring another boar in when he is right now going for the first one with the villagers? And we also see quite interesting path of this Eagle Scout, and this is probably going to be very close to the yellow player or whoever. Actually to the red, and yes, this was definitely a steal of the board, so this is really unfortunate for it, as this is going to put him back quite substantial amount, and well, yeah, he will have to somehow make up for that. But looking at the map around him, as the first player from AOESP, he will be having kind of trouble with this, as I don't see any kind of hunt. Sorry, just didn't notice it, it's here on the right, and with his scout not really taking care of potential luring next to the TC, I'm a bit afraid he will be actually making another mill here, setting him back all that much more. But he might just as well go for this berries because yeah, there's quite a lot of them, and he might not really need second mill after all. So yep, this was a pretty nice play by the Bolsonaro player here, and he's right now going for barracks at about 6 minutes. Right now finishing the wall as well, as he wants to be safe against potential aggression from his opponents and also be ready for the aggression himself. At this point I would really bet that he is going for a rush, as he's building the barracks really soon at this point. And looking somewhere else, we will be probably right now switching into opponents like the El Machina. And we have already seen that his one board has been stolen, but otherwise the mines are not really all that bad. But what is not really all that cool for him is that he is kind of open on the mine side of the map, so it will be very hard for him to wall on the left, and potentially this could be a way how he could be abused by his opponents, as he doesn't have really a safe gold, or well, he does have the small on the right, which is reasonably close to him, but I wouldn't really say that it's all that safe overall. Well, we'll see pretty soon, I guess, with Jekity advancing into Fuel Age as the first player, when we are switching into Starscream, who is the pocket for AOESP. Right now we see another boar being lured next to the TC, but he is also being abused by Avon, and it really seems like that this villager is not going to survive with just 2 hit points and Scout Cavalry having 3 attack. I'm kind of afraid this Willy is dead, which is going to put him at just 18. Not bad, not bad, but considering that his opponents are at 19 and 20, yeah, even this one villager is actually going to matter in this early stage of the game. Bit of a protection from the yellow scout himself, but yeah, not going to save the Willy here. Otherwise, quite a lot of hunt here right next to the wood line, which is not really all that bad. And otherwise, nice placement of the gold. And oh well, that's a bad stone. Yeah, that's kind of bad stone. But looking at how you usually don't have all that many villagers on the stone, especially in the early game, I'm kind of thinking this might not be all that bad. But looking how the pause is long, I'm just going to quickly check if maybe something went wrong in the game. So far it doesn't seem so. Seems like that everybody is pretty much happy being in the game, and it's probably just some pause for whatever reason. So we will look around the map in the meantime. Next gold for him. Yeah, kind of far away, but at the same time easily defensible. We just have to place a few walls here, and yeah, this is literally secure. So that's very nice indeed. If he can't somehow defend the main gold that is here. And yeah, overall, I don't really think that you should be having any kind of problems with this kind of map. So yep, that's very nice indeed for him. And we will be having a look at the last player, and that's a Marios 2000. Well, he is also spawned very close to the wall, basically the same as his steel opponent Jackety. If I switch off the Focus 4, you can see that's basically literally the same. And he's also having a dock, or rather, barracks drop, but unfortunately for him, he's at this point house, so yeah, that's kinda unfortunate. And do we see actually the villager building here? Yeah, we do. I was for a moment thinking that maybe this guy was the one, and he was sent a bit earlier than he should have been, and well, that's not the case. So, we will be waiting for literally like a half second for those militiamen coming out of the barracks and starting the aggression on their opponent. Otherwise, the base seems to be kinda condensed with both the food and the wood gathering here, so it seems like it should be easier to defend for him, but the gold is not really safe, even though, yet again, it does have the hill there, so potentially if he goes for archers, it could be some kind of help. And looking at how he smiled, that's probably going to be the unit of choice in the castle age, and yep, this could mean that this gold could be, yeah, easier to defend than it seemed at the very start. Extra hand here, that should be very easy for him. Extra gold with the stone also very nicely placed. And overall, the relic here, yep, not bad. And looking at other relics, this is the second one. That is one, and then one at the very back here. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And yeah, here we see that the dead villager here wasn't really all that ideal for yellow, but still. Oh, hello. Is another attempted a steal, so that will be a second steal here. And that was really unfortunate because actually Starscream did engage in the aggro here. And somehow Purple was able to steal it. Oh well, that's pretty terrible. And that's, yeah, that basically means that Starscream has some kind of fun at the very start of the game, and he will be having to steal this back because otherwise, yeah, that's, you know, yet another boar, and
Yes.
pretty huge advantage for MCLs overall.
Yes.
Let's just turn off the chat here, and he is at least trying to make up for this problem. What is the right command? This one then, probably. And he is at least trying to make sure that he lures some of those deers back in, so that he doesn't have a downtime in the food gathering here. So, looking at the right side, we will be expecting some aggression from green. Yeah, and okay, here we see stream ended. Is it actually being called a game because of the double steal? Well, they are definitely out of the game overall, and
Yes.
it really seems so that they have actually called it the GG. Oh, okay then. I'm just gonna have a look at the achievements, and that was kind of unexpected and fast, but really, this double bar steal is pretty powerful from MCL, so yeah, one would kind of understand why AOESP don't actually want to continue with that. Even though it's kind of disappointing for us, obviously. Alright, GG then. And here we go, exactly where we have left, and that's actually seeing how the board is being stolen by, rather from the yellow player by the purple one, and yeah, he will be having an extra advantage by that, so yep, that's both the pocket for MCLs and also the right side player Bolsonaro having an advantage of one extra board and denying one board to their opponents. Yep, that's going to be pretty crucial in the early game. Right now though we see first aggression from AOESP actually by Marios 2000 using a bit of a dash here, but he is encountering kind of tough opposition with both the scout and also a lot of villagers. But the purpose of the militia drash is usually just to basically disrupt the economy, which means disallowing some kind of economic gathering from those few villages, which is working out quite nicely, and well, so far that it's kind of worth it. But also looking how Jekitiv was the first one to advance into feudal age and is already having a dropped stables, he will be quite soon the one taking the reins of the aggression, quite literally taking the reins with the scout cavalry here. Yeah, so these guys are pretty much dead. Well, one is literally dead. Second is just a question of time, but he might want to actually micro a bit with the scout. Yeah, right now he does. And with how fast actually the scouts are, you shouldn't be having any kind of problems with that. So let's switch on to the right side where green is trying to rush. So that's right now MCL trying to disrupt the economy of their opponents, and red is doing quite a good thing right now, just trying to protect basically both the gold, building the barracks here and also the food here, and right now he's trying to finish the wall next to the wood line, which is going to be a bit more difficult because obviously he's quite open there, already having double lumber camp for better efficiency, and really on the top side from the left it's not going to be all that easy to defend for him overall. But let's see how well will actually the green player do with his own militia and whatnot. So far he was able to kill one of the villages there, it seems, but I'm not really exactly sure what he's hoping to do at this point. Probably he will be hoping that he can actually somehow find his way next to his gold mine, which will be kind of difficult. Red could have gone for a bit better placement of the mining camp, for example, like around here, because he would have a lot of space in there for some of those villages gathering, but well, that's not happening. Right now he is in kind of a problems, because even though he does have enough villages to repel this kind of raid, it's still going to mean that he won't be gathering gold anytime soon. Moving back to the left, we see the raid in here, just switching from the blue player into the teal player. Right now teal is having the upper hand quite definitely, but that's not really going to last all that long, because obviously the spearman is coming in, and since, as we have pointed out earlier, blue is actually having quite compact base, it's going to be easier for him to defend and harder for teal player to do something about that. So I'm kind of thinking that it might not be a bad idea if he switched from his player blue into potentially the pocket yellow, as he could definitely do some decent damage in there. So barracks being built as kind of a wall here, and otherwise, yeah, blue is going for mines. Okay, so that's definitely going to be a lot of archers, quite understandably, and he's quite nicely protecting the gold here, so no problem whatsoever. And since he is having this very nice slight hill, he will be having kind of advantage potentially with the archers, even against the cavalry overall. Still a bit of raid in here. Oh wow, that's actually you don't really see this all this often, but green has opted for actually many times the upgrade of the militias, and right now that's going to be a slight problem for him. And even though they were getting some serious damage from the town center, it's still, yeah, the continuing disruption of the red economy will be very crucial overall. Right now though, the Hunt is going for a bit of a skirmishes, trying to defend against these many times, which is right now successful, as they are basically, green was basically giving up, as he has done what he needed, and that was delay his opponent and allow himself to advance into the next age sooner and in much better position than his opponent will. The first to advance into castle will be Avon, as the pocket player playing Hans, and what is he going to go for? Knights. Okay, double stables is definitely going to knights. And there was also the possibility of going for cavalry archers, which is not happening at this point. And he is also trying to scout his pocket opponent, so I'm kind of thinking he will be attempting to go exactly there, as is his stealing teammate, who is arriving at the middle side and trying to disrupt what yellow will be doing. Right now he is quite nicely discovering where the gold is, and this is a bit of a problem, especially considering that yellow is Mongol, which means he was probably hoping to go for knights and whatnot. yeah, that's not really going to be all that easy for him, even though he is clicking into Castle Age. Yet again, without gold, he will be having a slower start, and potentially if Purple will be fast enough with his own knights, this could be pretty deadly for the AOESP. Yeah, knights are already trickling in. And he's already just trying to make sure that he does have enough room for his next DC, so he's defeating or rather deleting some of those palisades and will be quite happy to go for extra economy as he should as a pocket player. Yep, another DC at the back next to gold, and otherwise not much going on, a bit of scouting from the red player, but that's pretty much it. And yeah, just players advancing into the castle like Bolsonaro and Starscream. Sure, I'm going to turn off the chat yet again, because there's quite a lot of people actually talking about this. And I'm gonna also check into the game now if it's, unfortunately, some kind of next drop. Hopefully not. I really wish it's not. How's the right command? Actually help me somebody in the chat. Because I've tried like the both variations in the previous part, but I'm not exactly sure which one worked at this point. Still pretty nice raiding by Teal, but Yellow is already defending with those two spearmen, so this should be pretty much it. If he places them somehow strategically, he should be very safe indeed, and especially when his wood line is, yeah, that's basically safe with all those houses, and he doesn't need to worry about that at all, which means all that much lower amount of places where he needs to defend with those spearmen. Otherwise, it seems like that Blue will be going for a bit of an offensive here. And we are back into the game. We are back into the game here, and well. Will he find something successfully here? Probably this tree line. This seems like, well, in range. Let's like 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's going to be a pretty nice target for him. And he is seeing that right off the bat, and he can potentially even get at the gold once these guys actually retreat a bit further back. But he will be met with some kind of resistance, and that might be enough with proper micro from Teal to stop trading overall. So let's see about it. Also seems like that I finally stopped the chat there. And will he be successful with denying the opponent some economy or whatnot? Well, right now he's switching through gold, so let's see if Teal will be able to defend as well as we hope. And I'm kind of thinking that he should be, because he's having the proper counter unit. But, oh well, this kind of will... yeah, that's a very welcome bonus for the blue player, because obviously that's going to allow him some extra attack. And yep, not even those skirmishers will be good enough against that kind of attack. So one villager dead, and Teal is being forced off the gold, which is not really all that great for him. And we'll be switching onto the right side, where the pocket player, Purple, who has been advancing first into the Castle Age, is right now trying to raid as much as he can, and he's very successful indeed, especially with this Wolfie. And is probably going for the knights, but he has killed 3 villagers on the stone, or rather on the gold, and I'm kinda guessing that this 4th will be that as well. Oh yeah, that was a pretty nice hit. That was a pretty nice hit, and 4, or rather 5, oh well, this is another skeleton here, but I kind of thinking these are actually green, so this might be still the men-at-arms, but at any rate, 4 villagers at gold at this stage of the game, well, that's pretty problematic for El Machina, who is right now advancing into Castle Age, and he will be probably forced to stick with those skirmishers for a bit longer, even though he was hoping to switch into potentially cavalry archers as he's a Han, but we'll see pretty soon enough. Green at the same time is already having crossbowmen and is raiding himself. Various Red is trying to protect his gold with the tower. That's kind of a weird position, I have to say, as it's kind of covering just half of the gold. Maybe more interested in covering the food here with the market, but yeah, it's going to cost him a bit of a villagers, but still, he was successful in finishing the wall, or rather the tower, which means that he should be kind of raid-proof on this right side, especially with the extra army that he has at this point. Purple is also switching into the pocket here, into the yellow pocket, and he is finding a bit of resistance in those yellow camels, which is definitely a pretty great idea from Starscream, who was expecting that he would be raided. And yeah, you can see quite a lot of spearmen overall, and he just is making sure that this gold is not disrupted and is his for as long as he can actually manage. And he will definitely be hoping to advance into Imperial Age and unleash the Mangudais of his of his main civilization, the Mongols. So this is a very nice TC right now, protecting quite a lot of resources at the back. In the front, not much, just a 3 TC boom standard for the pocket here. And we also see a bit of an attempt at attack from Teal, who has been able to repel blue, but it seems like the blue is actually having quite a decent army at this point. And even though he is the last one in feudal, he should be able to deal with this kind of problematic stage. And he is right now trying to help himself with the tower, which is definitely going to succeed, and maybe buy him all that more time that he needs to advance into the next stage that he should be advancing, because yeah, without that it's going to be a bit harder for him to fight back against his opponents. Yeah, he is almost there, just 50 foot left to advance into the castle age, and this is a pretty decent army, and if he doesn't lose that like to those knights potentially combined with the army from Teal, he should be pretty much fine, and maybe even go into an aggression onto the Teal player pretty soon. At the same time though, on the right, yeah, there was a bit of a wall, deleted by Red himself, a kind of thing, and this army of the crossbowmen, even though they are fighting against elite skirmishers, they yet again having the advantage of the hill here, and that's really paying quite a lot of dividends to them. This is probably going to result in forced retreat from this gold of Red, and he will be forced to go somewhere else like this one. This is much safer at this point, and he should probably be thinking about maybe yet another tower, basically to make sure that he's protected as much as he can be protected. But I would be very interested if a wall wouldn't be a much better idea, like finish a wall here, here, and here, and he could be reasonably safe overall. So I'm going to have a look yet again, as we are having another long pause, and we have seen a bit of a drop earlier, but still seems like we are still well on our way, so it should be only a pause. Yep, right now it's off. We'll be resuming the game. Okay, so let's see how Green's McL is going to go against those skirmishers. Yeah, he's still missing so far, so pretty good job by Red, who is quite successful actually at picking off those crossbowmen one by one. And even though Green is having the advantage of the hill, oh well, he's doing a damn good job, and really he killed quite a lot of them with just 5 skirmishes, so pretty good job at that. And if this is going to continue like this, I'm kinda confident that Red should be able to defend just by himself. Well, good job indeed on that. On the left though, the situation is getting kinda interesting. Oh, well, I was about to say that Purple is joining the battle fully, but he is actually not. He's switching somewhere else, as it seems like that Teal will be having actually a proper 1v1 against his opponent, but looking how Yellow is actually joining in, yeah, that's probably not going to happen, as it's going to turn into 2 versus 1 against them, because, yep, Yellow is arriving with some of the camels, and this is exactly going to be the correct unit if they are going to be well on their way, but we have a disconnect here. So will it be yet another restart or something? I'm gonna quickly check into the game room. Or are they just continue with 2 versus 3? I don't know. At this point it really seems so. Well, let's just go for it. Let's see if actually MCL can win this, because it seems like that they are having some kind of connection issues. Hopefully it's going to improve for the next game, but so far we see, yeah, a bit of a skirmish here on the left, with Teal basically being out of the game. That means that Blue doesn't need to worry about him all that much, which means that Blue definitely needs just a few skirmishes to deal with this kind of army, and that's going to be it. And yep, he is free to go onto his opponents. So right now it's going to be a bit difficult for Purple and the other ally. That's going to be Green, and we see some kind of GG from Blue, but that's basically just an, yeah, 11 emote here, so let's see how this will develop further. I'm kind of thinking that MCLs are quite nicely posed to go for a victory anyway, because they are having a pretty nice boom. Looking at the villages, we are having Avon at 78, Bolsonaro 69, whereas best from AOESP is just at 41, so they are definitely having a pretty strong echo. And if MCLs can finish or rather follow with the aggression pretty soon, they will be very nice to go for the overall victory, even though they are just 2 at this point. So this is a pretty decent army, switching into some kind of, what is it going to be from Bolsonaro? Siege Workshop with Mangonels. Okay, so yeah, that's a pretty good choice against those skirmishers, and especially when he's right now going to face some Mangonels himself. So let's see about the micro battle between those two Mangonels. Yeah, double Mangonel and Red could be landing some pretty good blow. Yeah, that was a pretty nice one because it was kind of secret for Bolsonaro, because El Machina knew about the Mangonel through the shots, which meant that was a pretty nice surprise. And well, yeah, very nice shot, but pretty much not long-lived advantage. As you can see that actually Green is switching into Eagle Warriors as well, and this is going to be a pretty strong combo and a very hard situation for Red to deal with at this point. Looking at somewhere else, we see that Yellow is attempting some kind of raiding with the camels, but yeah, looking at the amount of knights and the huge amount just now generated from all those buildings, this is not going to fly, those 4 camels, and he will be having a pretty good army to go for an offensive against his opponent, either blue or potentially even the yellow here. We'll see pretty soon enough. And where is actually the blue army? There was quite a lot of blue. And is he waiting somewhere, or has he lost it already? I'm actually not seeing anything on the minimap, but he has went with like at least 15 archers somewhere to the right side. I'm not really seeing them anywhere at all at this point, so either I am blind or they have died somewhere, possibly against those knights, I would say. That's that's quite possible. Looking at the huge amount of skeletons here, or rather dead bodies, that's pretty much what happened here, I would guess. And yeah, this is pretty scary at this point. And I was thinking that Purple will be waiting for the advance into the Imperial Age and going for his Cavaliers and whatnot. Right now going for Husbandry and Iron Casting. So yeah, he's just taking this slow, and Red is at this point pretty much dead because he wasn't able to defend against his opponent, and it seems like that the Stolen Boar at the very beginning was just enough to put her blue, or rather, what is his color? Green, at enough of an advantage, and with the added raiding on the gold willies very early on, yep, he was in a pretty tough situation, and we already have Red some kind of GG's being called, but will it be really a GG so far at this point? Because we don't really see them being called, the designs or whatnot, so maybe Yellow with Blue will be thinking about some kind of strategy that they can pull off. But for that, they actually might need to protect their ally, who is right now, resigning, so that's pretty much it for him. And right now we are at proper 2v2, and when they actually see this huge army of knights entering the Yellow's base, that might be about it on the designs of the other players as well. Yeah, this one hero here. That's probably not going to cut it. But, well, he is doing what he can. You have to give him props for that. And, well, let's see. Maybe those maybe those monks can actually target something. But for that, they would actually have to somehow, target them, which they don't. And, well, it seems like that Yellow is not really aware that he's right now being pretty heavily raided, as he's just paying attention to the right side, where he's trying to protect his green teammate, or rather red teammate, who is already dead at this point, because he has resigned. And, well, he needs to retreat with absolutely everything, because otherwise he's going to lose, yet again, everything in his own base. So, yep, this is a pretty decent attack by the purple player. And looking at the villagers, we are just dropping at 36.5. So even though this town center might be finished, because it's not like Purple is actually sending enough knights here, it's probably not going to do any kind of good, because this army is pretty huge, and Avon is upgrading into Imperial Age, which will result in Cavaliers pretty damn soon, especially looking at the amount of resources on the top left. So yep, this seems like the Yellow army is pretty much dead. And the TC actually wasn't finished, just like 100 hit points from being done. And well, what is actually Blue at this point doing? Let's have a look into his base. He is having 4 TCs, so yeah, he's kind of preparing to move. He has gotten rid of the Teal army that was just waiting here through those Mangonels. And well, this is going to be a defense with the castle, and Starscream is yet another player from AOESP who is resigning at this point, and the last man standing is Marios 2000. And well, that's not going to be true any longer, as he is resigning as well, with Bolsonaro advancing into Imperial H2 and MCL are winning game number 2 on the Arabia. Well, that was pretty commanding performance from MCL overall, even though they have played 2 versus 3. But truth be said, it was pretty much decided even before that because green was playing damn well against red, and
Yes.
red was having all kinds of
Yes.
troubles defending
No.
against him. So yep, pretty good job. And I mustn't forget about A1, and he's pretty damn well playing pocket. What was he? Mongol, I think? Yeah, I think that Mongol. He was also pretty far ahead of everybody in the score here.
Okay.
And having the largest army as well, because yeah, he did have quite a decent amount of knights at the very end.
No.
Quite a lot of echoing there for him overall. And these kind of slower advances from Bolsonaro and Starscream. That was because both of them actually had a boar stolen from them at the very beginning. Or rather, sorry, no. Actually, no. Bolsonaro was the one who was stealing from Red.
No. No.
And
No.
A1 was stealing from Starscream, so not exactly sure why he was green so slow, because he has stolen one extra boar, but probably he was going for a stronger echo, so yeah, that could be the reason right there. Alright then, GG.